Hi, my name is Aubrey Meinertsma, and in my previous video I showed you how to fit an English saddle to a horse, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to fit my saddle to the rider, me. So the first thing I want to do is show you how to measure what size saddle you have. So I have a measuring tape right here, and so if I were to measure how long my saddle is, I would measure right from the front here to the middle of the cantle. So this is about a 16.5-inch saddle. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about stirrup length. Now I'm not going to know exactly how long my stirrups should be until I get on, but one way to kind of test about what length they should be is I put my hand up right underneath here and I measure it to underneath my armpit, and that's how, so this is about how long my stirrups should be. I'm not gonna actually know for sure until I get on the horse, but that's how to tell, kind of measure them before you get on. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit about saddle shape. So this is a hunt seat saddle, and it has a pretty low pommel and a low cantle. And the seat is pretty shallow, which allows the rider to sit a little more forward than in, say, like a saddle seat saddle. So if I was gonna ride hunt seat with a saddle like this is a saddle with that is way more shallow and a way lower cantle and pommel, and this is gonna kind of allow me to sit more back rather than this saddle pushing me a little bit more forward. So there's a few different things that I want to look at when I'm on the horse. I want to think about sitting nice and deep in my saddle and think about how the saddle affects my body position. What's really important to think about is that when I'm just relaxed in the saddle, that my shoulder and my ankles line up and my head. We want a straight line there, and I want the saddle to sit me in a way that that's how I'm naturally going to sit. And I also want to look at how much spacing is here in the front by these flaps in my knee. I want my knee to be able to rest up comfortably against these flaps and have there be almost a kind of a parallel right here. My saddle would be too small if my knees were to like pop out the front right here, but I also don't want like a ton of room here. And I'm also looking at kind of the back of my saddle and making sure there's still some space between, maybe like a hand width between my back and the back of the saddle here. And then I'm also gonna feel my stirrups. So my stirrups, should allow my shoulders, my ankles, and my head to kind of all line up. And they shouldn't push my legs forward or make me have to pull my legs farther back. And then I also want to look at these flaps, and if they were too short, so they have to be kind of what they say is like a third of the length down your calf. If they were too short, they would catch on my boots here, and if they were too long, they would kind of hinder my feet and my legs from being able to communicate super well with my horse. So I just have to make sure those are in okay length. So one last thing I want to talk about that I talked about a little bit before is balance. So I want to make sure that I am sitting nice and balanced in the saddle and that the saddle is allowing me to do that. For example, if the cantle back here was too high, the saddle might shove me forward in my saddle, which isn't a comfortable position for me or my horse. And if the pommel here was too high, I might feel like I'm being pushed back in the saddle, which would make me constantly feel like I have to keep leaning forward. So right now, sitting nice and balanced, I don't feel like I'm being pushed forward or shoved back, and I feel very balanced. All right, thank you for watching this video, and I hope it was simple enough and that you learned a lot about saddle fitting and how to fit the rider to the saddle. And yeah, thanks for watching.